Hello, can you hear me fine?
Loud and clear, brother. How about me?
I'm hearing you, but not the right way. Give me 1 second here. Can you try it again?
Mic check, 1 2, check 1 2.
Uh, got it. It was my headphone here that wasn't working because I switched a little bit the setup. I'm using the mic, but wireless. Um, we have three people in the room. Let me put you as co-host there.
I'm just trying to finish my brunch.
Take your time. We still have 2 minutes there. I was able to download the video. I haven't posted it yet. So I was just trying different things here. Today, I also have my mobile there. I wanted to see what it does when I record on the phone because I'm going to try to see the format and see if it adjusts to TikTok. I'm going to try to do live stream from TikTok Studio and see where that gets us. It's going to be something that definitely hits the mark here where I am because TikTok is a big social tool.
Cool new
TikTok
tricks.
and Facebook. Yeah, and see. So I'm trying to see what is going on when you're using that interface. And that's also a nice training for me because I haven't dealt too much into using my phone as I should. So it's going to be a good exercise. The ecosystem here forces me to because people don't use desktop here. It's all done through the phone.
I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
See where it takes you. Ah, now I got food in my belly.
Feeling better. It's hard to think with an empty stomach.
Yeah, she was starting to yell at me.
Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour, feed me. Well, I'm
Okay.
ready if
Well,
you are.
we're going to launch it. Absolutely. Just launch the recording here.
All right, all right, all right. Let's have some fun.
Welcome,
What are we
welcome,
gonna do
welcome,
with the note
everybody.
takers here? Uh-oh.
You have the note taker going on?
So what are we
Super.
doing with the old note takers?
Hey, welcome, everybody. Once again, it is happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy that we are going to be able to keep this momentum and there's interest. Um, I mean, usually I start with a disclosure. I think everybody remains, pretty much everything remains the same in the format of what we will be doing Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's just going to be a continuation of where we left off. So same dynamics. If you have questions on how to use your Now site, uh, we can bring it, you can bring it up. We'll answer the questions. We'll give you the best advice. And we'll keep on also elaborating on any subject of interest that could help us all become better network marketing. If you notice, the branding around me has changed a little bit, but everything remains the same. The calendar that you're using will be the same ongoing for now until there is a change. If there is any, I'll keep you informed. So I'm pretty much sure that everybody here will be part of this group. Since I was able to email you, it means that we already been through most of the introduction and such. Hey, Martha, you have your hand raised? You have a question?
No, I was just saying hello. I'm not a note
Hello.
taker. I'm here. It's me.
Perfect. So, if you have any questions, we'll start right away, as we always do, or we'll go into a session, the case study. How do you guys want to start? Go ahead, Robert.
What do you want to do with this Firefly stuff? Dana, do you need your Firefly note taker here if you're here?
I
What do you
am
want to
here,
do?
Dinah Beverly. Could you
Yeah, what do
please let me in? I appreciate it.
you are here? I know.
Could you let my note taker in?
Sure.
Thanks.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yep.
Isn't there a way? Don't they have the ability to just grab notes from here?
It has to be on, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, it's
the fathoms need to be on, and I go back and I use this for retraining myself into like when Virgil or you, Robert, are showing us different steps. Sometimes I can't do that because I don't have two computers to do the screens. So I will use this and have this on my old computer while I update my new computer with the things that we are taught. So that
Okay.
my note taker is very helpful.
Very,
Awesome,
very
awesome.
helpful.
Okay, well, there is a method to the madness. Now I know.
Yes, it is.
I love it.
excellent.
Oh,
Awesome, thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's good to have that if you're using these tools to keep track of exchanges while you're on Zoom. Why not bring them in? I If it doesn't interfere with the room synergy, I have no problem with it. And if it allows you to have something to fall back on and digest on your own later on, even better, right? So this is for sharing right now. Go ahead, Lisa, you have your hand up.
Hey, thank you. So, when you're ready for questions, now that I have this awesome new digital business card, my question is about the strategy exactly of how to customize it. Like, if I'm with a different audience, do I clone it and call it something else, or do I just add a section, or
That
exactly?
would be that would be the right thing to do because let's take it in simple format. There's a conversation every time you're sending that digital card out. There's a conversation that happens, right? And the main one is the one that we're trying to sell, that call to action. And depending on the product or even the intent, that call to action may change, right? So you can clone it and then change just the conversation piece that matters, right? I'm pretty sure that on the right side of the panel, I'll show my, by the way, I saw the reveal after. Oh, emotions, colors, they have a power, right? So it's important. And we don't need a lot of branding colors because, again, it's a lot of emotions. We are not sure which one to latch onto. One emotion conveys a lot. I'll tell you what I felt when I saw your card. Can you actually drop it in the link? We'll take a look at it again. What I felt when I saw this card was peace, calm, right? That blue color is very calming. That's what I felt, right? So I'm not sure if this is what you were going for, but this is what that color suggested me, right? And around the dark mystery of the background, well, I felt secure in the conversation, right? Simple things like that. And again, the point that matters, coming back to what we were saying, when we are rewriting this or redressing this, well, what's going to change is these conversation on this panel and the expertise. If the expertise falls out of the conversation, if you're donning, for example, the mantle of a network marketer, talking specifically marketing approach and not necessarily your weight loss conversation, then that will have to adapt, right? So it's really the conversation each time. You can pretty much, if you want, keep the same colors and just come here each time you want to present a new conversation and change that conversation, right? This is why the digital card is such a powerful asset because it helps you deliver in simple point form what is the most important for us, where to find us, how to understand us, and how to potentially start the opt-in process, right? And that mechanic will never change around whatever option, whatever offer you're putting forward. Of course, staying in line with the energy conversation, if you move from one product that is high energy to another type of product, then you're going to adapt that conversation, right? If you
What
go
I
into a more, go ahead.
what really impacted me was the conversation about uh, the vision impaired versus the sighted. I mean, even to me, the white on black with the bold, large letters was, you know, too impactful, I guess.
It gets aggressive, right?
Yeah,
There is
and
one thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, just none of the, I mean, I've been to several trainings about accessibility of websites and, you know, visual design, even in Canva. Canva had a, I don't know, 3-hour training about the colors and the, you know, dealing with making it accessible for visually impaired. And I thought that was great information, but also to consider the sighted brings a nuance to that. So I appreciated that a lot.
Sometimes that is the most important thing in our approach, especially when we're looking at the clientele and the audience, trying to be as much as you can to be balanced,
Mhm.
right? This is why the greatest trick in marketing is staying in the box, simplicity. Because when you're simple, you're talking to everybody. If you're too sophisticated, then you're looking at these people who are high type, impulse driven, mind juggling audience because they need to be captivated. A lot of things needs to move, right? If you're somebody that is more calm, one moving picture is more than enough. If you have two, then I'm like, what's going on, right? So sometimes the best rule is to try as much as we can to stay in the middle. Okay, this is also one of the things that brings us when we're doing this. You did well by considering the other point of view because that's important. If we come into this marketing, even at this level where we're talking about the digital card, if we come into this space only thinking about us, then we forget who we're speaking to. Then we forget how to make, for example, the title more appealing, the conversation more compelling, more impulse driven. Okay, there's also one trick I want to show you. Okay, and this is something often that we miss. It's a simple trick, right? But it's something that can help with giving depth to your presentation. Okay, for example, I was bouncing between yours and mine because, for example, it's a day and light. It's a day and light uh, uh, comparison here. I have white, right? And you can see that it's very bright, right? And then you have dark and you can see the different impact that just the light versus dark has and how the background can be very impactful. Here, what I did is I went for the white because there was a whiteboard and there was a little bit more of conversation here, which gives this panel, this presentation, a little bit more depth. That 3D, something is happening in the background, but very important, I do not overlap conversations, right? There's one thing that you will learn, and this is good for people that are interested in creating compelling designs. There's 3 parts to what you see. The foreground, what you see in the front of you, right? The middle ground, what you see in the middle or behind the foreground, and then there's the background, what's all over at the end. Okay, whenever you're designing something, always keep in mind these 3 things, right? What should be at the foreground of your website? The message, because this is the first thing that we want to read, right? The mid ground is where you're going to try to build more interest, more depth. When you're in 2D, the midground and the background are the same, right? So you just have to keep that in mind. Foreground, midground, background, right? In front of me, in the middle, and very far behind. What exactly is the most important? And it should always be in the case of marketing, the conversation. It's the first thing that I see, right? Now I'm going to show you one thing, okay? And this is when you're done with your digital card, the foreground, the conversation, right? When you're done with the digital card and you want to start thinking about creating depths, remember, when you're building on the content section, right? By the way, to change the colors, everybody knows we click on the asset, we go into style, we look at the attribute or the text for the headings for the color code, the color section here. And this is how we change colors, right? At least for most of the tool, the process is a little bit different when we're looking at the text editing block. We'll get to that. But most of the time, what I recommend is building on the same fold, the same content section for the digital card. Why? Because then you can start playing with that idea of giving it depth with a background that can create basically that impression of, okay, there's something behind that is also reinforcing the conversation. So for example, instead of having your black background, you could have a metallic black background because that would give that specific effect. I'll show you. It's a picture, right? Backgrounds, basically. It's the idea that I want to seed in here. When you're creating here and you're going to be using your content, think about backgrounds. Because for example, still staying in the tone of white, I used recently this one for the new digital card. Here, I'm just going to switch it and you're going to see, right? So things like that. This is white, right? I'm using a white background, so I'm staying in my color tone, right? But I'm adding something that is not too charged in conversation. So the background is now helping me with my presentation in the foreground. It's supporting that. Right? And sometimes you got to be very careful. Note here, this detail on this panel is great, but here, because the section is small and because there is a fine detail, we're now having a little bit of a problem to read. So here, for example, style, section background, I would switch it to a color, white. And you can play here, for example, with the opacity if you want to let some of that detail come in. But you see, what I'm doing is not trying to conflict with the background so that people can still read and get a little bit of that energy. I'm going to publish and take a look at it. So with changing your colors for the conversation impact on the foreground, you also have the ability to work on the background to give it more depth. So you see here, very clean, but I'm still in the white, right? So the idea here, the takeaway is if you are doing this online looking for content, you can say, for example, I'll say black. I like the metallic. Why? Because we can already get the HTC free. This is important, right? If we're getting things offline, we want to make sure that we basically get the royalty-free stuff so we're not in problems. It's even better, for example, I was going to segue at one point to a conversation in Canva, people who don't have it or are using it. It's a simple tool. You can go into the presentation and they'll offer free pictures that you can download as well, right? And that is something also I'll try to see here. For example, it gave me an array of those so I can take a look at it. And be careful because they're all black backgrounds, right? But looking at each one of them, you get a different sensation, different emotion, different conversation is happening from this liquid metal type foil background to this straight line, organized, very tech driven background. We have conversation, right? Same thing, this honeycomb design, these lines, right? All these simple things have a meaning, right? Here, for example, I'm going to try to grab here, this one. I'll keep it very simple. See, so it's like a chalkboard thing. And you noticed in the how to courses, I was using this chalkboard design, right? Same principle, very simple to apply. Just have to keep in mind that you're working on these dimensions: foreground, midground, background. If you guys have been in meetings with me often enough, when you have a banner and there's a picture with too much details on the background, it's the first thing I jump on and say, hey, there's a complex conversation happening here. right? Here, we're not going to be able to read everything that is on the transparent background, but I'll switch quickly to the black background, and you can see. And by the way, for those who weren't sure how you do that, I clicked on the image, right click. Yeah, right click, popped up, save image to my computer. It's royalty free, so I was able to download it. When it's not, usually it will give you a problem or will have a signature. So this is a good way from staying away from things that are not supposed to be used. If anything, they'll notify you sis and deceased or sis stop using it, and you will do so. If you add to the design by layering something on top, usually it's okay for these type of things, but here, see? So it's dark. I'm going to switch quickly the colors here. So it's dark. So I have to come back and switch basically the conversation to something that can be read. So by the way, it shows you also how you can quickly do that, right? And same thing here. So you see now, I don't have a completely dark background. It has a little bit of effect. Okay, I could have gone for a better effect there, something that is more technical into the graphic design type or digital marketing type space, right? It could have been that. So this is something to use. It allows you to give more power to what you are trying to state, right? And also it's in a simple touch. It will upscale your presentation, allowing you to make that impact when you're going to share this card, right? So you see here, simple as that. I'm sometimes partial to these asymmetric look, right? Because you can see the background here. If I leave the white background on the left, it creates that yin and yang type feeling. And to be honest, I wasn't necessarily gunning for that. I just noticed that basically. On the mobile, everything aligns vertically, right? And you can see here, for example, the conversation happening between these three guards. At first, I was like this. I had this human feeling here, the human touch. The second one, more technical, right? Honeycomb, the idea of gathering. Honeycomb usually has that idea for me, the beehive, right? Everybody comes in. There's also an idea of very structured organization, right? And multi-directional aim, because there's a point in all direction, right? You'll notice that design will come back into our conversation, the honeycomb, because it has also an idea for me, a seeding process for conversation around a lot of the things that we discussed, right? And this is also, it's going to give you a taste of what we are most likely going to be doing. I was thinking about how we're going to continue this, blending in the masterclass, workshop, and how-to session case study, since I'm more free with what I can do. And I think that I was going to do an ABC Branding 101 step-by-step process in a few modules across weeks or days. So that way we can really start discussing, going back to the basic around, okay, how do I start defining my brand, right? How do I go into the logo? How does that all work into the marketing strategy to come, right? And with the ease that we have when using Now Site to do updates, as you can see, as we are discussing, I'm playing around with ideas. With the ease that we have, it's a perfect tool for these type of demonstration, bouncing between other design tools, for example, like Canva in this case, and coming back here, right? It's going to give you a lot more power, and it's also going to force you into a system of thinking, right? If you're going to start doing these type of presentation, right, where we have our thumbnails or any type of marketing content, well, what we're going to start aiming at is conversation. How do we make sure that when somebody sees this thumbnail, they click on it, or at least we put the best chance on our side? How can we increase these conversation? And that forces you into that mechanic: interest, intention, call to action. Why? Because the thumbnail space is very small, So whatever you do, you can't write too much. Otherwise, you're forced into these balancing act between fonts and titles, right? So there's an art to this, okay? The idea, and it's the same thing across the digital card. The idea is how much am I going to take away from this banner when I see it? How much am I going to take away from this card when I see it at a glance, right? And you see now the conversation. I
That
saw
is
the
the
touch.
wrong thumbnail. I just saw it. I didn't see it before. That is the wrong
Oh, we brought light to it too.
Yes, that is not,
Oh, there
that's
you
the
go.
thumbnail for the live event, not the evergreen. So I got to change that. But
Perfect.
you're right. You're exactly right.
Mhm. Right. So,
So
and I
I have,
like this touch here. I reviewing the conversation. I was gonna address it when I was cut off. But remember, we're trying to make a personal conversation. So if there's any space where you need to speak in the first person, it's always going to be your digital card. I am
yeah,
introducing myself.
Robert gave me that
Mhm.
interpret. I asked him to interpret your conversation comment, and so he shared that with me.
Right. You got it
And
right. We discussed that. Go ahead, sorry.
so there are two. I have two questions now. Number one,
Mhm.
should I remove one of these videos? Because
Yes. Bluntly, I would say yes, but it depends. Bluntly, why? I'm going to ask you, which one of these videos, well, now that we know that the evergreen is definitely not the good one, this one's going to go. But if, let's say both of these videos were the right one, then I would have to ask you, which one is the most important one? Which one is the one that you wish me to click on first? That's the one that matters. If both of them are complementary, meaning you're giving me a quick introduction and a first rollout, meaning watch the first is 30 seconds. And if you really like it, then I'm going to say going to watch the second one right away, right? If there's a method in that sequence, and that's going to follow the conversation, 1, 2 step to get it done. First step, watch this video. And if you like, which we will, sure you will, watch the second. Right? So that's the only reason why I would keep this format, but I would rather have this here. Because again, it's the idea of seeing you, hearing you, connection complete. I hear you, I see you, right? And this is food for me, okay? I can receive also the best presentation that you have to make around your offer. That's one of the this is one of the values here in having these videos as much as possible embedded in these digital cards, because you're there giving life to the conversation. That's one question. Second one,
uh, I just want Robert to know that I am a woman of action, and I did try getting rid of the um, red YouTube
here.
play color.
Mhm.
And when I put the embed code, the video was very small. It wasn't the right size. So I was wondering, uh, is there a way to, I know there's a way to go into the embed code, but I don't know how to do it. So or is there something?
Just get with me later and I'll hook you up, Dr. Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Or-
Thank you. I
I,
tried. I did try.
we're me and Robert, we're gonna have this great conversation around because I want this is an open space, so the options that you have would be great for all of us to consider. And even if you have things that can be added to our set of tools that are useful, we can discuss that, because definitely if we make a recommendation, we stand by them. If we stand by them, we can offer tools and are alternative by them, which I'm aware of what Robert is going to offer. It's a great tool, right? Definitely give it a try and see what works for you. That's the most important thing. But otherwise, I mean, I kind of like the red in the middle there. Reason being is that this is a different conversation. It's something that as marketers we also have to learn how to manage is leveraging brands, right? Leveraging brands, because it's the same thing. For example, as a brand ambassador, you're leveraging your brand with the company's brand that you are promoting. Go ahead, Dinah. I'll come back on that
No,
train of thought.
no, I'm ready. I had a phone call. I had to put my hand down at first. So, if Robert can show us, I mean, because we all would want to know how to get that red thing from in the middle of our picture, or if that's just something we have to do offline with you.
So here's what I will do for those of you that are here. If you reach out to me, I'll take care of you guys. All it is that I have my own video hosting. It's called a Dillo, ADILO. And when it first came out, what I was able to do was to get a lifetime subscription. I've got like 100 licenses that I could sell or rent or whatever. But since you guys are so awesome and it keeps showing up, this is also something that I normally offer to my paid students. I will take care of those of you that are in here. So that means Dr. Lisa, Martha, and Dinah, as far as I see.
Awesome. Thank you.
All I need you to do is just get with me on Facebook Messenger and I'll take care of you, ladies.
Appreciate you.
We are the lucky ones. So
My
I got mine
apologies. I
too,
had to
by
sit
the
in
way.
my massage chair. My back was acting up.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, so we got the tool, we use it. But for those who, well, I'm going to continue the train of thought that I had because leveraging brand is important, right? The access, the tool that Robert is giving us is something that we cannot refuse. You never refuse good tools. And it allows you a lot more control in the environment of the videos that you're creating. But coming back to that red button in the middle of the screen, for me, it's an impulse driver. Red is passion, right? So if you read all that and you see that red button, you might want to push it, right? Plus, there's in the idea of leveraging brands, certain brands give you confidence, right? Because they are known. Others, right, allow you more tools, more abilities, right? So leverage that. Me, I like the red. I like the community around Google. I use a lot of Google tools, and I'm even rebuilding a lot of my approach administratively around that, right? And if it offers me a free access, a free community, I won't shy away from it. But I'm pretty sure that there's also, well, I won't speak on things that I'm not sure of. I'll find if there is way internally as well to move those colors because they give some customization options, but that has to do with their branding, which is going to be a big topic of discussion coming. Why is it important to have a constant color as basically your main supporting brand? Me, I allow myself to have up to 3 colors, but there's one that drives the rest. The rest are supporting colors, just like we need right, left, wingmans when we're doing things. It's important. Go ahead, Robert. Sorry.
Was I just want to be clear, and Virgil, you know exactly what I'm going to say with all this. The only reason that I'm saying this, first off, is because of my experience, number one. Secondly, if I go to a page like this, and this is nothing against you, Dr. Lisa, I love your information, I love the colors, but I get a real quick turn off whenever I see a professional video done in YouTube on a page. You've got a lot of distractions. People could click on YouTube, they go to YouTube to watch it. Next thing you know, they're down the rabbit hole. So I'm not telling you to go and not put up videos on YouTube. The only thing that I'm showing you guys, and we'll be able to show you with this having your own ability like this, in a sense, it's like having your own little YouTube, but you have control over those features, the functions, the buttons. You know, if you want to do a video and have it roll right directly into a specific website, you can do that as well, right? So it's just a professional way to be able to get your message across. Still upload to YouTube, but then in YouTube, if you know much about search engine optimization, down in the description, that's where you're going to put your description information and then send them to this page as an example, right? So YouTube shows what you see there on YouTube. In the description, they click the link, boom. Now they go here and they see the professional version with the video with all the right colors, and you know, you can change whatever colors you want, right? So I just want to be clear and make sure everybody
No,
understands that.
You know,
If
where
I go to, as an example, I see, oh my God, there's this amazing launch that's going on, right? And I go watch the sizzle video and it's on YouTube, immediately I'm out of there. Because it shows lack of a few things, lack of budget, lack of attention to detail, lack of professionalism. Like there's a lot of different things that really goes down to it. And I know that's pretty deep on what I'm telling you, but it all matters. It really does.
Well, where I have
definitely.
my video, I have it on YouTube, obviously, but I also have it on a video hosting server. And if the embed code gave me the right size of thumbnail here, it would take them to a room, you know, a dedicated page without the YouTube stuff. And I have a, you know, a link that shows in the last 30 seconds and stuff like that. So,
I just had a thought, Dr. Lisa. I don't know if you have a paid version of ChatGPT, but have you thought about throwing it into ChatGPT and telling it what you want, resize it and stuff? That's an option too.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I do have a paid version. I'll do that.
Yeah, take the code that you have in there and say, hey, this isn't lining up the way I want it on my website. I need it to look like this. I need the button to be this color or whatever. Tell it what you want. Tell it what you want, what you really, really want.
Now that is gold. Often enough, we pay for tools and we don't use them. Use it, right? And it allows you to do a lot more. So definitely. And one of the things that I'm taking away from this conversation is control. And definitely, when you have the opportunity, the tools to bring the audience into a control space, you want to take advantage of that right away, right? Because that is, for example, aligning in true case study, in line with what we're discussing. I had problems putting certain videos on YouTube because of their guidelines, right? So certain content, for example, I didn't have control. I was subject to their control, right? With a tool, for example, like Robert is offering, I get more control. I also get that option of, like he said, deciding where this will be embedded and having that ease of doing so. So it's saving steps, right? For those who are getting it, well, cherish it, because income income asset stream is something that I put forward a while back, right? There are certain links that you use because they're accessible by everybody free. There are certain that are reserved for the selected one, right? So that level of control is definitely a value there that we cannot discuss. After that, yeah, we can have discussions because, for example, some people make a living out of YouTube content. And to do that, there's a certain level that is required. So I can't say, I'll have a discussion, a passionate exchange with Robert on that, in the sense that, well, I have my opinion about certain communities, because there's also the options of tapping into the income stream that they offer, right? And this is not something that you want to neglect. Same thing as using any social media platform. One thing, for example, I was very partial myself to doing this conversation or these type of exchanges on TikTok. I felt that maybe it wasn't the niche for it. But no, I need to venture in that. Why? Because there is a community there, right? And as network marketers, we have the obligation to go wherever there's a community of people. Why? Because it's fertile grounds for more engagement, more discovery, more opportunity, right? So often enough, you want to size that environment where you will do a lot of work, depending on, okay, what can you leverage there? How well can you place your product there, or how large is potentially the default audience that they gave you? Because in the end, just as we are discussing in control, I need to funnel whatever audience I get to a platform that gives me more control, that allows me to anchor them into that space with less distraction. Funneling. Make sense? Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I would definitely want to add to that. There's a few things that came across my mind as you were talking. Obviously, too, we're saying yes, you definitely want to put those up there on YouTube and stuff. But there's a couple of things that came into my mind while you were talking about, especially while we're looking at this specific funnel, because that's what it is. We have to think about what type of funnel it is, right? Is it an affiliate funnel? Is it a hero funnel? There's different types of funnels that are put out there. And going off of the conversation that we were asking earlier about those two videos, typically I don't put two videos on a page. If I do one, it'll be like a teaser, and then that'll have a button to go to the next video, which is a little bit more in depth than the opt-in for them to get all full disclosure, so that's just something else to think about. Yeah, I also want to mention less is more. That's a popular saying as well. So for me, I don't know, like I would have one clear, concise message for what you're trying to get out of that, right? Be very concise about it. So I don't necessarily think that you need two. Definitely have it up on YouTube, but have a clear, nice, controlled video that you can send people where you want to, that kind of stuff for sure. It looks great.
And look, yeah, it's game changing. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be more happening to this card. And that was actually a very great advice in the end, because if you have two powerful videos, use them in your funnel process. Give the second one as the reward for opting in, right? That is also a good strategy, because in the end, we have two assets that could be used in two steps instead of one to create a better connection as well, a deeper connection.
You know what, too,
Right.
and with these classes and stuff, we can dig even deeper and deeper into this stuff because we don't even know what the message is, right? We see a video clip there, but we don't even know what you're saying, right? So there's tons of different stuff that we can dig into when it comes to this, but I love where you're going with it.
Thanks. Virgil, do me a favor. Just refresh. I want to see if I got the
Refresh.
thumbnail.
Oh, so I love it. You were working in real time of
Absolutely.
action. You said it, lady of action. I love it. Okay.
No, it didn't come through.
Didn't come through?
I'll have to
Okay,
figure
I'll
out
give
how-
you one advice for the next reveal, if you can do this, because, right, and this is an example that everybody can follow right away. Since you're going to be changing one of these videos, give us a precise conversation right after your name leading to the webinar, right? Because Robert did mention something. We didn't get a brief of what we are about to read,
Mhm.
right? We're not sure what we're clinking onto, right? So we should get that intention. We have the interest, we have the call to action, which is watch the video, but we're missing the intention. What is the intention? What is the value, right? And that is also where, remember, we discussed the impulse, the reason why people buy. If it's something that you need now, is it something that will give you and your family more? Is it something that is about business, right? That intention. So when you're going to be doing this, and that would allow us to also experience in real time a change of conversation. If you do this, that would be great. Do the updates and then let us know and we'll see. Use the AI. Remember, you're not even under the gun, right? Because what the idea is, this is the intention behind this meeting offer leading to a webinar. Craft me something, give me 5 versions, and you will give us the best one and you will comment on it. Good?
Yeah, awesome.
15
Can I-
minutes,
can I
good?
say one more thing?
Go ahead.
I did a 3-day webinar on a 3-day training on communication. Ended an hour ago. And one of the secrets that they talked about was creating dopamine or cortisol or testosterone or oxytocin on demand in your communication. And he said, and this blew my mind, you can use ChatGPT to evaluate what is the testosterone quotient of your email or whatever. And so your email today, I'm going to tell you, was high testosterone. It was take action. You want to click. We revved it up. I'm on fire. This community, the conversation is going. If you're still doing it, yeah, come on, come to the room. We're here. I was like, oh
it's
yeah, oh yeah. He wanted that
I
quick.
want you to come. I want you to come. You felt it. I want you to come.
I
Right?
did.
So,
That was skill. That was masterful. Thank you.
and actually, you know what? I learned something. I'm going to use that. Rate the testosterone level here. Do you know how? Wow. Don't use this for evil. That's a quote Robert gave me. If you don't use this for evil, because do you realize the depth of what you can do with just this piece of advice, everybody?
You have okay. I'm gonna give you a. I'm gonna give everyone some value right here.
We're receiving and we're loving it.
You. This is gonna blow your mind. Stand by. He talked about angel cocktails and devil cocktails. And if you could imagine, the angel cocktail is dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. The devil cocktail is adrenaline, cortisol. So there you go. Little
Love it.
cocktail recipe.
The yin and yang. The yin and yang.
Yeah.
Right? There's one thing often enough that we experience, but we fail to understand, right? Constantly we're bouncing between these polarities. Inactivity, activity, action, reaction, cause, effect. When I came into marketing, that was one of the rules that was fascinating me, cause and effect. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to cause an effect, right? And the only way I can measure this is on the consequences of my actions. And this is what we constantly struggle here. I posted, didn't get a reaction. Cause and effect. What is happening? Why is my conversation not creating these impulses? Right? Am I reading it? Because this is also why I often say we get chat to give us all these powerful things, but we have the ownership to get here, to get in there, read it, and own it, understand it. And this is what meaning what? When I read these emails, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited. They're gonna feel it because that's what I wanted this email to feel like. I own the conversation. And if it wasn't nice, I took out this, I took out that, restructure it. Right? But it's Chad writing it. I'm playing the piano, basically. Right? We can be virtuoso of conversation with Chad. We just have to unlock that process. Okay, I just need to ask and feel. Ask and feel. All right? If you can get into that mechanic, you'll see that your writing style or your conversation style will be more compelling. Right? Because I have to know what I'm trying to get you to feel to make sure that I know that you're feeling it right. Right? That's it. And everything we're discussing today is really about that emotion. And remember, as much as we spoke about emotion and such, we're still talking about the first effect of the digital card. When you open this, right? Wow, this person knows what they're doing. Wow, this person really connects with me. Wow, it's really all that conversation, all that synergy, all that cocktail, right? That is getting them in. Even, I love that conversation, the devil's cocktail, right? Things that are calming with on top of things that are impulse driven. Conversation, coming back to where we started, right? If I have calm on calm, then the conversation might be too calming, not reacting. If I have too strong on strong, then there's too much happening, right? So I'm finding that balance in the middle, right? There's enough yin, there's enough yang in the conversation to keep them interested, not running, and give them that, bring them to that tipping point. I need to click on to see more, right? I need to. And the funnel strategy is always keeping that in mind, okay? Step by step, impulse by impulse, right? Conversation wise, I usually say, if I want to have you in this room for an hour, I need to be able to keep you in this room for 30 minutes at least, because then I know that you're going to want more. To get you in a room for 30 minutes, I need to at least be able to have you listen to me for 15 minutes. And if you're walking by, it drops down, right? I need that 15 seconds or that 5 minutes. Greatest hook when we are working face to face, when you want to talk to somebody. Hey, sir, hey, ma'am, do you have 5 minutes? It's going to be very quick, right? Sometimes, yeah.
Ouch, ouch, no, no.
In the past, that used to work. With the right smile, with the right approach, you would stop that person. Now, are you going to be able to keep them? That's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. Because I'll put it this way, this is something that we most likely have lived at one point or another in our life. If we went to any marketplace where there's somebody there, when they try to stop us, we might not stop physically, but in the mind, we stopped. We answered. We closed the conversation, meaning that they made that offer. Do you have a few minutes to talk? It's going to be very quick. Right?
And I said, no, I don't. I kept
No.
walking.
That's it. But here, for example, you are most likely, you walking into the store, you seeing me, I would automatically know that demeanor because you would have a closed body conversation.
Well,
Because I know you.
there would be differences. First off, like we can talk about this for a while because this is my bread and butter right here. Number one, I would never call you sir or ma'am. That's a big no-no. The moment I call you sir or ma'am, I'm putting myself subservient to you. Most people don't think about that, but it should never ever be used in a sales format, right? Secondly, there's a way to use your body language in such a way to be able to stop that person, grab their attention without them even realizing it, and without you being that person that's in the store saying, hey, can I help you find something? Because the moment that you're that person, what happens to all of us? That wall goes up immediately. So you want to prevent that wall from even going up, which goes back to what I always talk about and saying there's never a second chance to make a first impression. So your first impression has to be spot on. Even when it comes to the eye contact, there's points in time where you're going to want to look at that person in the eye, and then points of time where you're going to tell them something and you're not going to look at them in the eye. Right? There's a lot of psychology that goes behind that, especially when it comes directly and talking to somebody. But yeah, ooh, I love that stuff. That's my jam right there.
We're going to have to hear more of that. And absolutely. There's one thing, though, I want to say. You have me right in the sense that the conversation on the point where I started was customer service wise, right? Because, for example, if you come in, and this was the approach that I was taught, but the sales approach, the more direct, the more forceful one, for example, using the body language to make the person stop, grab their intentions, right? That's high level.
You know what
Uh,
would be better? An easy fix for everybody that's here watching, and so that they get something out of this conversation is
Mhm.
what I call give to get all the time. And what's the easiest thing that I can give to get of yours is my name. So if I'm going to stop you in public, instead of saying, "Hey, do you have a moment?" I'm going to say, "Hey, my name is Robert." And you are? You're going to say, "Virgil, I've stopped you for that moment, my friend."
Love
Ta-da.
it. Love it. Apply, apply. I, man, I love it. Well, simply put,
Just
bring it
saying.
back into bringing it. No, you said it right, and even more impactful for what we are discussing here,
Yeah, it's
right?
communication,
Because
right? It's a skill set. It's
because
how you say things.
because yeah, because what we are saying and what you just said is what this digital card embodies. Here's who I am,
Right.
right?
And I don't
It's
know if
actually
anybody,
yeah,
and
go
I don't
ahead.
know if anybody heard yesterday, if you guys were here yesterday, but after Virgil had brought this up, like I've had so far two people that have tried to hit me up with their business card. And it's so easy to say, "Oh, thanks, here's mine."
Right.
And just like he's
Give.
saying, man, if yours looks better than theirs, they're gonna be like, "Damn, I need some work." You
How
know?
did he get it? No, it's a show of force. It's a simple show of force. Simple. And this is again when you're marketer to marketer. If you're sending this to a client because the digital card applies, all right? Here, let's not just get stuck into that peer-to-peer conversation. There's also
Hey,
the
Virgil.
consumer impact,
I just thought of
right?
another example that came to mind not even 2 days ago. Somebody else talked about meeting up with me, right? They were trying to connect with me in Facebook. And oh yeah, well, that'd be great if you want to jump on a 20-minute conversation. I was like, yeah, here's my contact card. Book it here.
Straightforward.
Book some time right here. Whatever time is available. Let me know if it works for you. And it was again, it was another. So three so far since we started this whole thing here. So just
And
wanted to say,
he didn't. You didn't even have to think about it at this point.
no.
You just it's right there.
And I
I
just
have a
sent it to him
response to
and
that
giggled
question.
my butt off.
Powerful tool. Powerful tool. So definitely, guys, if you haven't get into that mind frame, uh, it's and again because there's a lot of it's a simple asset, but there's a lot of work or preparation that is required, right? Because if I go to your LinkedIn, I expect to see the same conversation, same presentation, same emotion in the color tones, right? In the banner, right? Dr. Lisa, see the branding. I'm still talking. And this is important because it means what? If I'm looking at the post, I keep reinforcing the conversation. So just with a simple click, I'm deeper into your funnel. Same goes for Instagram. Consistent branding. Because again, if I click on these buttons and the conversation strays from where we are, there's a problem, right? And you see here, I know that I'm home. I'm still talking to Lisa every step of the way. And that smile creates a connection. For me, that's important. Smile in the voice. And some of my pictures, most of my pictures, I don't smile. I'm going to change that. I'm preparing for my next photo shoot. I'm going to change that. But yes, simple things like that. But when they're put together, they combine into a very complex and powerful tool.
Going
Right.
back to
So
your
keep that
first impression.
first impression at hello. This is who I am. Who are
Love it.
you? This is who I am. I have benefit, expertise to help you to serve your goals. Right. So very important. Same. The connection here is important, especially when we are stepping away from the peer-to-peer conversation, but now speaking to consumers, right? Because if I'm a consumer and I receive your digital card, the reaction to it won't be the same as if I am a network marketer, right? Where I'm going to start evaluating your work and your expertise to see where mine compares. The consumer is going to start the process of trust.
So Virgil,
Sorry, go ahead.
there's a question here from Dorea, and
Go ahead.
you definitely put in your 2 cents. She says that's super cool. I need to get mine together. What if you have several businesses or focuses? And then she said, I guess I just give it a different name and create each business card differently to appease the right audience, right? I
Yes,
said
that would
yes,
be it.
do that, but what would your feedback be?
That would be the right step. However, I want to know, right? Are these products or opportunity in several different industries? Right? Because, for example, if I'm going to be talking a digital product and presenting different set of digital products, I'm not going to go into creating different cards for these digital products. I'll have one conversation aim at the digital interest, and it allows me to cycle the conversation whenever I want to sell a product in priority. Right,
So
because this is also one thing that you're going to be involved in. When you have different businesses, different products, different opportunity, you're forced to juggle priorities, right? Because if this one is on sale and it's creating more return opportunity, then all my conversation is going to shift to that product for the time being, right?
so mine is
If I'm
not
selling,
diversity of products, mine is diversity of audiences. So for instance, I do the women's veterans thing, so I'm definitely have it's a different focus, different niche than
Mhm.
just my, like, say, business thing, because we have a totally different focus, and I don't do products. I'm more service based. So knowing that I have really distinct audiences that doesn't really cross, I would need different business cards because I have different audiences and different focus and different feel, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm
Okay.
asking.
Well,
Versus
okay.
products.
By no. It's a good question, and it does align with what we're saying, right? Because here, for example, in your case, okay, if we overlap the conversation with Lisa's card, in your case, this whole information, regardless of who we're talking to on this side, will remain the same, right? Whether you're talking to a veteran, a woman veteran, or a man veteran, or well, the business conversation. Maybe I spoke too quick. The business conversation is still for the same audience, veteran-based audience, is it? Or are we
I was
talking
going to echo that.
entrepreneur outside
Yeah.
of the realm
So
of veteran?
the business consulting is anybody. The niche is the
Anybody?
women veteran. Yeah, that has specific needs. That steers. There'll be a little bit of crossover, but the language is definitely in a different lane because we speak
Okay,
differently
so
as veterans.
let's put it this way. If there's a little bit of crossover, then your conversations should stay in that middle realm, right? Where I can address specific needs to an audience, which is mainly women, but I have interests that can be non-business versus business, because this is what I think I understood. Everybody, but still within the same women gender, or are we looking at men as well? Because that's the first conversation that I want to understand, in a sense that if you're talking to women veteran, the conversation or the imagery will adhere to them, right? So that one we have that leg or that seat filled. Now the other one is when we're going to talk to these entrepreneurs, right? Are they still women? are they still men? Or are they women or are they men? Because at that point, then we might want to balance that conversation. Even if the conversation is the same, what I'm talking about is the presentation, where I'll have just women or just men. I may have both of them, right? So I just want to know how far is the audience, because already, if there is intertwinement, like some points of conversation that are shared, this is where I would niche the main asset,
So in
not to
my
create
mind,
too
it's
many.
kind of like almost like a funnel, right? So I got
Mhm.
the business thing, which is a big funnel. And then I got the
Okay.
men and women veterans, which is a middle funnel. And then I got the women, which is at the very end. It's very small, it's very niche specific for them. So it's kind of three different layers, three different buckets that are, there's that all of them can participate in all three. But then when it comes to getting the really tight niche, it's a different type of conversation, a different feel altogether.
Okay.
May I?
So
So yeah,
May I?
yes.
go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I know we're kind of over the hour here, and I've
Oh,
got to
yes.
probably get off here because I've got a meeting at 12:30. I just want to state this so that everybody understands this. People join people, not businesses. So regardless, Dore, if you're doing 2, 3, or 4 different things, they still need to know who you are. You're thinking about it, and I'll say this, and this is just being nice about it. A lot of times, the things that we think are not actually reality, right? They might be reality because we're thinking of them. But what I mean by that is you're saying that there's no crossover. There may be a crossover, and you'll never know that if you're not mixing the two, which is in essence who you are, right? So when people come to your card here, they should see that you're a veteran, right? And whatever your main leading thing is that you're passionate about, that's what I would say focus on. And then the only difference is going to be where you're going to place those people inside of whatever buckets, as well as the list that you're going to create for each different business. Now you individualize on each different business. Now you send out your links to those people and you speak in that language to that list. You speak in this language to that list. Make sense?
I want to add on to that because we often overthink the process or the situation because we're not looking at it the right way. This is what I understood in the end. Okay, because you did something here that clarified the confusion in my mind. You said I have a top funnel, I have a middle funnel, and I have a bottom funnel, but they all lead to the same space. For me, that's one funnel. That's one funnel. Because what I'm understanding is whether you come left, center, or right, you end up in the same pool where the general conversation is addressed. So we only have one end goal service. However, the issue or the conversation is that, well, you at most need 3 lines of conversation. The one addressing the women veteran in particular, the one addressing the men and women in general, right? And then the last one, it was, what was the last part of the funnel? The smaller part at the end?
Just the top one, the big one is just the business,
The
just as
business.
a business coach, and then this the veterans particularly, and then the women veteran. But I going back to the business card, going back to that original question, so it's one business card.
Yes.
One,
And I'm just
one business.
naming everything, naming the whole kitchen in one business card
No, no,
instead of
no.
Okay.
doing
Not,
No,
something
no, no.
that's
different.
not
One
what we're
second.
saying.
1 second. There's one business. Okay. That's
You.
the conversation that I was trying to have. There's
Okay.
one business because each time you said it the same way. Coach for
Okay.
veteran, coach for business, coach for coach. Coach at the conversation that we're having,
Okay.
right?
Got it.
The audience is targeted, right? And in your conversation, then I would ask, out of these 3 tiers of audience, which is the most important? Coming back to what Robert said, find one or the main one that basically will speak to everybody, especially that you're coaching. I'm coaching, okay, personal business development. So we already have that segmentation if we need, right? You want to talk business, we'll talk business, regardless of what you are, who you are, or your creed. However, I do specialize in veteran, women veteran. Why? Because this is what I am. This is where I come from.
Yeah, I want to
The
add,
con-
you're not saying that you're a veteran in your card there. You're not doing yourself a service. That's just like
ah,
Dr. Lisa going to college and not putting doctor in front of her name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
expertise.
yeah,
That's where it comes.
alone gives
That,
you clout. They're like, oh crap, this girl's a veteran, right?
yeah. It's like
Just
saying
go
you're
do
it's
that.
like saying you're a professional with no experience. Not that you didn't graduate, but no experience. They'll say, well, you might be qualified, but you haven't been field tested. Not sure how you're gonna react. But when you open up with say, I've been in the business 5 years helping women, veteran, to strive in business or otherwise. It's clear, right? And guess what? If your niche is women, stick to that. You know why? Because if I see that you can help a woman as a man, I want to work with you too, because you can help,
That's where that crossover comes in that you don't think that's there,
right?
right? That
Often
I was
enough,
mentioning.
yeah, go sorry.
No, I was just saying that's what I was mentioning. You don't see that, but other people will see it. Like myself or Virgil, I'm like, well, no, there's some kind of crossover there, but ultimately it's still going back to that one product, which is you. They're going to join you for whatever it is that you do. So lean on your experiences. Is one thing. Like you hear me talk about telling your story. That's part of your story. You should be telling it.
And to make it even simpler to grasp, as long as you list 3 things in a paragraph, it's not too much, right? As
And
a personal coach, business coach, I covered too, specializing in those who have history and background in the military. I can achieve this for you, right? Out of the sudden, there's no more complication here. We're speaking to everybody. We're presenting our expertise and giving them options. So even boiling it down to one card, then in the form, make your choice, pick your poison, just like we did. Digital segmentation, one card, those options.
all right, brother,
Okay.
I've got to run. Everybody have a good
Yes,
day. We'll see you guys Tuesday. Two. Love
Thank
you. Bye
you.
bye. Bye
absolutely.
for now, T.
Thank you guys so much.
My
Appreciate you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to the emails coming through because I have free times at least for the next, I'll say 2 weeks or so. And I'm going to take that time to set up a calendar, try to cover more days than just those and focus on specific subjects each time, right? The how-to sessions are great. We can shoot in every direction. I see that you guys really like the workshop. We're going to try to blend two, where I give an example, real life I practice with you. We'll blend with what we've done with Lisa so that we can optimize also in real time and see the effect and share, right? I think that would give us even more synergy, more oomph into what we are creating here. And spread the word for those who didn't come, for those who were a part of it, maybe got confused, let them know. Let's keep growing the community. Because these shares, like 2 days, I'm walking away with things here. Rediffusion from Doria, the music, yeah? And then the hormone conversation and using chat to evaluate that. Oh, we're going to have fun when we go back to talking about email and creating those because we're going to rate the conversation with chat based on that. And we should all be applying that. I'm going to be applying it for sure.
Great
Okay.
tips.
You.
I'll see
Great
you
tips
guys next
today.
week. Wow.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Toria, for your service.
No, pleasure. Adore your service.